no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. We're getting ready to get into this Raiders mailbag. As always, if you want to get your questions on the show, Super Chat, hashtag Raiders, easiest ways to do it. If I miss your question, hit me up on IG, Mitchell Renz 365. Let's go to Jalen Montez. Appreciate the super. What are your expectations for Moehrig? My expectations are going to be very, very high for him. I'm not going to sit here and say 4 or 5 INTs. I could definitely see 2 or 3. Probably going to be around 60, 65 tackles, maybe even more than that. But for Moehrig to really shine, he needs the other guys on the outside, Mullen, Arnett, Douglas, Hayward, even a guy like Abram. They need to do their role, because if all he's asked to do is be that center fielder and do exactly what he needs to do in that secondary and not compensate for other guys, he's going to be great. My expectations are very, very high for Moehrig. I mean, he was my number 1 safety for a reason. He was a dude that I thought the Raiders could take at number 17 for a reason. He's a damn good football player. Let's go to Giannis Edward 044, Sheba Dog, saying good job while raising his thumbs up. All right, man. Appreciate you for the emoji. All right, we got Shane Gambill. What's the chance the Raiders doesn't make the playoffs? Chucky gives up OC duties. Bring back Bill Musgrave. Also, sorry about the DC question. First off, don't ever apologize for a question. I appreciate that you guys take time out of your day to watch the show, so please don't apologize. In terms of, Gruden, I've said this multiple times. I think Jon Gruden is a really good head coach. I think he is a good leader of men. But he needs to give up offensive play calling ability, because he's stuck in the 2000s, man, like the early 2000s. I want a young offensive-minded dude who I really think could put this team in a very good, much better, we'll say, areas of making plays, whether it's in the red zone, whether it's on 4th and 1s, 3rd and 1s. But I'm going to agree with you that Gruden needs to be able to give up some of these OC duties. Let's go to AJ Dog 3452. Since Gruden loves tight ends, should the Raiders consider a trade to get Zach Ertz? I'll tell you what, man. Growing up in Pennsylvania, got a lot of Eagles friends out there, and they love Zach Ertz. And he's done a lot of really good things in his career. I mean, not too long ago, this dude had 116 catches behind only, I believe, DeAndre Hopkins, which I believe was in 2019. He's 30 years old now, though. Coming off a year, he had 36 catches, 335 yards. It's pretty murky in Philly. I don't really know if you're going to have to trade for him. This could be a player that Philly ends up moving on from in a potential cut situation. Even if they cut him, my vote's still going to be no, because we don't really need a tight end. We got Waller, and I want Foster Moreau to get his reps, not Zach Ertz. So if you're asking me, should the Raiders trade for Zach, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to type my end for no. Is he a talented player? Yes, he absolutely is. However, I can't sit here and tell you that trading for Zach Ertz is what this football team needs to do. It would remind me a lot of the Kenyon Drake move, where Kenyon Drake's a good running back. Zach Ertz is a good tight end. Is it really a major need? Is it really where I want to invest my money? The answer to that question, it's a simple no. All right, we got Gregory Vasquez coming in here. I really like Zay Jones, really underutilized. I don't know if I can say I really like Zay Jones, but the Raiders of Mayock, they obviously like Jones. I mean, I believe Jones was a top 5 wide receiver in Mayock's rankings when he was still doing NFL draft stuff, top 4. I mean, Jones, I think he had 157 catches his final year at East Carolina, good route runner. The issue for him is he's a good practice player from what I've heard. He doesn't always do it in a game, which is when we need to see him shine. The Raiders did give him a $1.1 million bonus, but again, I'd rather have Hunter Renfrow on the field, rather have John Brown on the field. I'd honestly rather have Willie Snead on the field. Where are you going to put him? Right now, he's probably the 6th best wide receiver on that team. And then in terms of just overall targets, I'd rather Jacobs get more targets. I'd rather Kenyon Drake get more targets. I'd rather Darren Waller get more targets. Hell, I might even rather Foster Moreau. 10th best target on the team. Not really going to have a lot of opportunities. Let's go to Aaron Sabo, or I don't know. Hey, Mitch, what would you have done differently the most if you were the GM of the Raiders this offseason? If I was the GM of the Raiders, I would have considered maybe going out and getting Anthony Harris for 1 year, $5 million. Definitely a route I would have went. I would not have signed Kenyon Drake, even though I like him. It's not how I would have invested my money. I would have invested that Kenyon Drake money maybe in a top cornerback like a Richard Sherman. You could also bring in somebody like Casey Hayward, who they ended up bringing in. Defensive tackle, I would have figured out a way to get somebody like Leonard Williams. I would have figured out a way to get Dalvin Tomlinson, another really solid DT. And then on the offensive side of the football, I mean, you'd like to be able to think that you could have kept a guy like Rodney Hudson happy, because losing Rodney Hudson, man, like that just is a big time eyesore for me. He did everything you want a Raiders player to do, and they still, couldn't keep him. That sucks. All right, if y'all are looking for free Raiders videos every single day, if you want to know when, hey, trades happen around Trent Brown, Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, we do all those videos here. Just because it's the offseason, there's no days off here at the Las Vegas Raiders Report. So hit that big red button underneath the video that says subscribe. If you can't find it, you can just type in youtube.com/Raiders Report, whether it's on Google, wherever, and you click the sub button that way. Also, turn on your notifications. Honestly, notifications are the most important in the offseason. That way you don't miss something, because if it happens where, I don't know, Jeff Heath's cut and you're sitting here a month from now like, Mitch, why don't you have Jeff Heath on your depth chart? Because he already got cut. If you subscribe, you would have known that. Let's go to Ray. What up, Ray? Appreciate the super. What are your thoughts on Nick Kwiatkoski? You think he really helps our defense? There was recently, I believe, an article that came out of being one of the most underappreciated players on the defensive side of the football. That's Kwokowski. He is not only the quarterback on defense, he wears that green dot, but he can do a lot of different things. Chicago Bears right now, they are kicking themselves in the you-know-where, letting this man leave. The Raiders got a good one. He can play against the run. He can play against the pass. He can do just about everything. He might not be, excellent at one thing, but he's really good at just about everything. The guy that I'll throw this comparison out there. I used to play video games a lot when I was a kid, like Nintendo 64. He's like Mario. Mario was freaking good at everything that you asked him to do. He wasn't excellent at one thing, but he was very balanced. That's Nick Kwokowski, and that's exactly what he's able to do for this defense, because that's what the Raiders need. A guy just like this in the middle. Let's go to Ben Jenkins. Solomon Thomas comes up big. I mean, if that's your prediction, I'm not going to be against it. I like the Solomon Thomas move. He's going to be a good depth player, but if we're sitting here hoping that he can be that number 3 overall pick, you're going to be disappointed. If he can come in and give you a solid 400, 450 snaps for the season, I'll be happy about that. Let's go to B. What up, B? Name a defensive starter from our 2020 that's most likely to lose their starter job. I mean, I'll say Damon Arnett. It's probably the top name that comes to my mind. I mean, they went out and got Casey Hayward, Rasul Douglas, and if Arnett can't play well, then yeah, you're going to see him move on. Nevin Lawson started a lot of games. That's probably another player to be able to throw out there. On the offensive side of the football, I mean, Hunter Renfrow could be a name to keep in mind just because they have more depth. And then if I have to go with another name on the offensive side, that's probably all the guys I'll go with. All right, let's go to Harry. PFF ranked Derek Carr as the 13th best quarterback. Is that fair or unfair? I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and let's just be real. PFF does some really good things. PFF is also really bad in certain areas. Now, here's the top 15 quarterbacks, if you will. So I want you to be able to see, in terms of comparisons, where Derek Carr was ranked with some of these other QBs. The top 5, I don't really have any arguments here. I'm not really going to sit here and debate. If they want to put Brady at number 2, they can go ahead and do that. He just won the Super Bowl. From 6 to number 10, my biggest concerns here, how is Baker Mayfield in the top 10? And Sam went to OU, so he's happy about this. But, let's be real. Baker Mayfield is not a top 10 quarterback in any realm of the world that we're possibly living in. And you can't just go off, your PFF stats. You got to go off your eyeballs, too. If you're sitting here telling me Baker's top 10, I'm sorry, you're drunk. Let's go to 11 through 15. Matthew Stafford, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert. The name that y'all care about is Derek Carr. And a reminder, these are not my rankings. They are PFF. It literally says that in the title. But in terms of do I think it's fair or unfair, I actually think that these rankings are fair. Derek Carr, to me, is a quarterback somewhere between 11 to 15. That's totally okay. But where would you guys rank Derek Carr? Would you rank him as a 8th overall best quarterback? The 10th? The 15th? I love asking Derek Carr questions because we get there's going to be somebody that types 1. Guaranteed somebody types 1. There's also going to be people that type somewhere in the 20s. But where would you rank Derek Carr? I have him as my 11th best quarterback in the National Football League, where I was pretty surprised that Kyler Murray wasn't in the top 15. I would put Kyler Murray in the top 10 personally, which is then probably, I'd also have Ryan Tannehill at number 10. I don't have Matthew Stafford there. I'll take Derek Carr over Matthew Stafford any day of the week personally, at least for what the Raiders are trying to do on offense. But calling him the 11th best quarterback, I don't think it's fair or unfair. I think it's very, kind of in the middle here. So, you guys can let me know. Where would you guys rank Derek Carr? Let's go to Oakland Raiders, number 1. With our schedule this year, do you think we can win 11 games? I do, Raider Nation for life. The Raiders can win 11 games, and I don't really think anybody would sit here and debate that. If you do, I don't really think that you've watched the Raiders too often. The question is this. I think the Raiders could literally win 12 games. I think they could also win 4 to 5 games. It really just depends how the defense steps up, how the injuries really are going to unfold, and can the offensive line mesh. If the offensive line doesn't mesh, no way you win 11 games. But when this team shows up, they've shown that they can beat literally anyone. The issue is, can they show up for an extended amount of time? But my prediction, if you guys want to go check it out, it's on the channel, but it's not 11 wins. Let's go to Andrew. What's up, Andrew? Get a pick. Hey, Mitch, trade for Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Would you do it? I mean, would I do it? Sure. I told you, if you can upgrade a QB, you do it. If you can get Davante Adams, you do it. The issue is this. If I'm the Packers, I want Derek Carr and at least 2 first-round picks, and that's at the absolute least. And then for Davante Adams, I also want 2 first-round picks. So if you don't want to give up Derek Carr, I mean, I honestly think like that right there, that takes 6 first-round picks to be able to do that trade. Hopefully you can move on from D.C. then and get 2 first-rounders so you're only spending 4. Bottom line is this, it's going to cost way too much. Luckily for you guys, though, speaking of cost, this is kind of a free offer we got going on. Chatsports.com/Raiders. If you guys want to bet on the NFL, if you want to bet on the Raiders, if you want to bet on the NBA, you can go ahead and do it. I want you to listen up and listen up real close. We got the best deal on the internet. Head on over, chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125 when you deposit $100 at chatsports.com/Raiders. You get $125 for free to bet with. If you want to bet on the Raiders, you can already go ahead and do it. If you think they're going to go ahead and win the AFC West, risk $10 to win $120. If you want to risk your entire $100, guess what? You're going $1,200. Like, that's how this thing works. If you want to go ahead and risk $100 on them winning the Super Bowl, you can win $6,600 if they go ahead and do it. But if you're going to do that, you might as well double down and go ahead and bet on them winning the AFC Championship as well. Now, if you're like, wait a minute, Mitch, it's the middle of May. I don't want to bet on football now. If you're like me, I came in this morning, I'm like, all right, what are the odds on all the NBA games happening? Now, if you're watching this live, you can go ahead and bet on these NBA games. If you're not watching this live, well, you'll be like, wait a minute, all these games already happened. You're 100% right. It's just me trying to reward people who are also watching the live show Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. But if you also want to go ahead and bet on some other NBA series, you can go ahead and do so. Let me know in the comment section which out of these is the most interesting to you. My family probably would type 2. The series that I think is going to be the most interesting, Clippers versus Mavs. So I'm probably going to go ahead and type 3. Now, again, if you want to bet on all these NBA games, you can do it at chatsports.com/Raiders. Use the promo code Raiders125 for that 125% deposit bonus. If you also want to go ahead and bet on who y'all think is going to win the NBA championship, you can go ahead and do it. Your options are all there. Chatsports.com/Raiders. All right, let's go to Jack Kenna, Super Chat. What up, my man? Monday Night Football versus the Ravens. Do you see Abrams as a quarterback spy for this game? Also, Baker Mayfield is no way better than Carr. I agree with that. I'll take Derek Carr every day of the week. And in terms of being a quarterback spy, I could see Jonathan Abram being a QB spy. And funny, I actually mentioned that. I believe it was right during the schedule release. It was last Monday in that video. I said, don't be surprised if Abram is that QB spy. Let's go to Raider Luco. What's your take on TRT? Here's the issue. I appreciate the Super Chat. I don't know what TRT is. Like, I know TNT, Dynamite, but I don't know what TRT is, and I can't really think of what it would be. Does anybody have any idea? In the comments, let me know. What does TRT stand for? If somebody can let me know, then I will be able to address that question. But until then, I do not know. Let's go to the next question here on the Raiders Report. Go ahead and use hashtag Raiders, or you can Super Chat. I'm looking in the comments for the TRT. I just don't see it. Let's go to JoJo DeBoss 123. What grade do you give the offseason so far for the Raiders? Love the show. Appreciate that. I'd give this probably like a B-, B grade overall. I might even, it's probably a B-, C+, honestly. The offensive line, it's not going to be as good, I don't think, personally. I mean, it's hard to be able to wrap my mind around the offensive line being better. If I'm wrong and the offensive line does outplay, then I'll tell you what, I'll be a lot more confident in terms of like the way this offseason goes. I like the defensive moves. I like the draft. It's just the offseason moves on the offensive line. They kind of kill me a little bit. Let's go to MZ. Rodgers for a first-round pick and a first and a third, and Derek Carr. So basically, a first-round pick, a second-round pick, third. I mean, if you're telling me right now it'd be 2 first-round picks, a second, and a third, and Derek Carr, that would be enough, yes, to get Aaron Rodgers. And would I personally do that trade? I mean, it'd be a lot to get rid of him. The only way I'll do it is if I'm like, all right, Aaron, you're going to stay with the Raiders for another 5 years. Like, that's the only way I do it. So, would I take this, though? Yeah, I honestly would. All right, y'all, if you want to hit me up on IG, I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. If I missed your question, always know that, hey, I am there. The DMs are open. We're posting more Raiders content there as well, and I've been doing a lot more IG Live. So if you have any questions going on around the silver and black, please hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365. Plus, I've been posting a lot more stuff for, a lot of the sponsors here like Panda Subs, BetUS, all those awesome places. Let's go to Tommy Turek. Do you think Kenyon Drake could be the 2021 Charlie Garner? It's actually funny. You're not the first person, and you won't be the last person to bring up that name, but I'm going to sit here and say no. I don't see Kenyon Drake being Gardner. Let's go to Trent. What up, Trent? Does Javen White make this year like a meek? Okay. I would like to be able to sit here and say Javen White makes the team. Do I think if it, like you're talking to me, if it's a 55-man roster, which, remember, practice squads, this and that, Javen ends up making the cut. I just don't see this team keeping 6 linebackers. If he doesn't make the 53, he will be one of the very first people to make the practice squad. If you didn't watch this live, and if you haven't seen the video yet, please go check out my 53-man roster projections.